It's this one. And yeah, I was vice chairman for a time, for 8 years. The club is still going well with something more than 300 members. And it has its publications. That's, as you said, Andromeda Nachrichten, as a periodical magazine which is covering all the news, all the new books, all the new movies, all the new games, computer games, whatever. And there are additional publications also on special topics. And that's something which fans in other countries are stunned about sometimes, that they appear to be real thick books in format A4, full size. That's a lot of paper. When it comes to what is special about German fandom, you can say, yeah, publication is something which is going well here. Yeah, it goes on, but on the other hand, we have to see also we have no younger people. The whole average age of SFCD membership is getting 1 year older per year.
Yeah.
So we don't know what will happen in the future.
So okay.
Andrei, poți să traduci?
Spunea domnul că nu mai au foarte mulți membri tineri, din câte am înțeles. Inițial, sau pot să fac prezentarea?
Da.
Okay, so I will start with a short presentation of Mr. Arno Behrend. Is it okay if I say it in Romanian for everyone?
Yep.
Or?
Yep.
Okay. Deci, domnul Behrend a făcut parte din promoția anului 1967. La vârsta de 12 ani a scris primele proze scurte science fiction. Timp de mulți ani a fost fascinat de legătura dintre povestirile SF și cele polițiste. Pornind de la această fascinație, el a scris mai multe povestiri, dintre care câteva au apărut în volumul Vinovată în 16 cazuri. Îl pasionează de asemenea povestiri cu temă istorică și povestiri care au ca temă lume alternativă. 2 astfel de povestiri a scris, prima dintre ele fiind intitulată Small Talk. A primit în anul 2003 premiul german pentru science fiction pentru cea mai bună povestire în limba germană a anului. Călătoria prin spațiu îl fascinează de când era copil. Pe atunci îl preocupa întrebarea cum ar putea revoluționa explorarea Căii Lactee sondele von Neumann. Spune multe faptul că cele mai mari descoperiri nu sunt făcute de o navă Enterprise cu echipaj uman la bord, ci de rachete controlate de la distanță fără echipaj uman. El a publicat pe această temă tot 2 povestiri. El nu este numai autor. Faptul că a descoperit scena activă de science fiction la vârsta de 25 de ani i-a plăcut atât de mult încât s-a implicat pe mai multe planuri. A scris articole, a publicat fanzine, a condus un club regional și a fost președintele adjunct al Clubului German de Science Fiction. A adus la viață premiul pentru film și televiziune al SFCD, pe care l-a administrat timp de 16 ani. Mai presus de toate, a fost implicat în organizarea mai multor convenții, ca de exemplu la Dortmund au avut loc 2 Euroconuri. A participat la ambele, la al doilea în 2017, de la început până la sfârșit, ca și președinte. Așa s-au format și legăturile cu scena science fiction din România. Pe soția sa, Gabriela, a cunoscut-o în cadrul comunității de science fiction din Germania. Spre deosebire de el, ea este și grafician și a început ca ilustratoare. Între timp a devenit și o autoare cunoscută și cu mai multe premii. La convențiile de la Dortmund, ea s-a ocupat de planificarea programului, acum se dedică amândoi și mai mult scrisului. Iar povestirea Petropunk a scris-o pentru o licitație. Tema propusă era cum va arăta viitorul dacă protestele de la Fridays for the Future ar fi avut succes. Această idee de bază este un exemplu al faptului că trăim în niște vremuri foarte interesante în care inspirația pentru povestiri noi nu se va termina. Acesta ar fi o scurtă prezentare a autorului. Ok. Now further, I think we can, you can...
Okay, the story is there. All right. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to, I just can start reading. Yeah?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Petropunk. Breitmeier betrat das schmucklose graue Gebäude, in dem sich das VR-Studio befand. Im Flur flackerten einige der Leuchtstofflampen. Zeit, sich mal wieder einen Roboter vom Facility Management kommen zu lassen. Er trampelte den Schnee von den Stiefeln und stapfte in sein Büro rechts am Ende des Ganges. Skip war schon da und saß wie üblich am Schreibtisch, der seinem gegenüberstand. Morgen, schmetterte er optimistisch, um sich gegen die notorisch schlechte Laune seiner Redakteurin zu wappnen. Was haben wir denn heute? Er hängte seinen dicken Lodenmantel an den Garderobenständer. Ach, nur so ein paar VR-Animateure. Ich habe alles oben auf den Stapel gelegt. Breitmeier brummte, setzte sich und nahm das E-Paper auf, das auf der ansonsten völlig leeren Tischplatte herumlag. Er schüttelte es kurz, bis die Menüarchitektur aufleuchtete, wählte die Datei aus und las. 3 Leute, kommentierte er. Skip machte, Er maß die Redakteurin mit einem langen Blick, das weiße Haar, die schmalen Lippen, die Falten in dem über 70 Jahre alten Gesicht, die abschätzige Ironie und Distanz in ihrem Blick. Seit Jahren beschäftigte sich Breitmeier nun schon jeden Tag mit der Tatsache, dass er diese Frau nicht verstand. Es war müßig, sich darüber weiter Gedanken zu machen. Er las die Kurzbiografien durch. Witzige Truppe. Und wieder wurde er mit einem belohnt. Er schaute sich noch einmal die Einzelheiten zu dem Projekt an, das die 3 verfolgten, und nickte dann. Das wird auf der Brille gut aussehen. Sind Pedro und Kolja schon da oder haben sie sich wegen irgendwas abgemeldet? Skip schüttelte den Kopf. Ehe Breitmeier darüber spekulieren konnte, welchem Teil seiner Frage diese Verneinung galt, betrat Pedro, der Aufnahmeleiter, das Büro, um ein unausgeschlafenes Guten Morgen in die Runde zu geben. Der klein geratene Techniker mit schwarzem Vollbart und Locken stellte sich hinter seinem Chef, warf einen Blick auf das E-Paper und überflog die Zeilen in Sekunden. Wie immer, murmelte er und verließ das Büro wieder. Der VR-Techniker Kolja, blassgroß, schmal mit schütterem blonden Haar, ließ sich nur kurz winkend im Türspalt blicken, um dann mit seinem Buddy in Richtung Sendetechnik abzudrehen. Breitmeier warf einen letzten Blick auf Skips Dossier und fing an, sich Fragen zurechtzulegen. Er stand auf und nahm erst auf dem Flur wahr, dass es an der Tür klingelte. Hinter ihm huschte Skip in einem für ihr Alter beachtlichem Tempo aus der Bürotür, um die Gäste zu empfangen. Ein Grund mehr für ihn, sich in seinen persönlichen VR-Raum auf der anderen Seite des Ganges zurückzuziehen. Er zog es vor, seinen Gästen in der lebensecht wirkenden Form seines Avatars entgegenzutreten. Den etwas behäbig wirkenden, rundlichen und mittelalten Breitmeier bekam so niemand zu Gesicht, sondern immer nur Tim. Und das auch nur in den Interviewsendungen, mit denen der VR-Kanal gerade mal 1/4 seiner Einkünfte generierte. Wenn Breitmeier E-Learning-Lektionen verabreichte, war sein Avatar Bruno. Er wirkte deutlich seriöser und sprach mit tieferer Stimme. E-Learning war für ihre kleine Firma lukrativ genug, sodass sie alle 4 ihr Bürgergeld substanziell ergänzen konnten. Für Lifestyle-Magazine gab es noch den soft angehauchten Bodo. Sie hatten damit experimentiert, Breitmeier einen weiblichen Avatar zu verpassen, merkten damals aber schnell, dass sein Bewegungsrepertoire ihn für viele aufmerksame Zuschauer als Mann enttarnen würde. Man müsste sich in dieser Branche genau überlegen, was Menschen auf der ganzen Welt sehen wollten, um letztlich über die Schaltung von Werbung Einnahmen generieren zu können. Da kam es auf Kleinigkeiten an. Kolja hatte ihnen tags zuvor mitgeteilt, dass alles, was sie sagten, neuerdings auch in Bahasa, Indonesia, scheinbar lippensynchron gedolmetscht wurde. Tatsächlich veränderte der Rechner die digitalen dreidimensionalen Bilder bei der Ausstrahlung in 27 Sprachen jeweils so, dass auch die Lippenbewegungen angepasst wurden. Breitmeier hatte einmal gesehen und gehört, wie er in Mandarin moderierte. Das hat ihn regelrecht gegruselt. Verschiedene kulturell angepasste Avatare für ein und dieselbe Sendung waren auch ein Gedanke, aber so weit waren sie noch nicht. Er zog den VR-Anzug mit den Motion-Capture-Sensoren an und setzte sich den Helm auf. Heute waren keine Superheldenflüge über irgendwelche Landschaften vorgesehen, also brauchte er nicht in das Geschirr zu steigen, das seine jeweilige Körperlage simulierte. Stattdessen setzte er sich auf den schlichten Plastikstuhl, der das einzig normale Möbelstück im Raum darstellte. Kolja hatte ihn schon mal mit dem Studio verbunden. Sobald er den Schalter im Nacken des Helms umgelegt hatte, saß er seinem Gesprächspartner gegenüber. Die Umgebung war in diesem Augenblick noch der mit einem Quadratmuster aus schwarzen Linien überzogene weiße Standardraum. Dass seine Gäste bereits ihre Avatare übergezogen hatten, war Breitmeier allerdings sofort klar. Die Frau in der Mitte trug einen roten Frisurenberg, aus dem lebendig aussehende Blumen sprossen. Der vollbärtige, rundliche Typ rechts sah sich alle Ecken des Raumes neugierig an, obwohl die dunklen Gläser seine Sonnenbrille das kaum zugelassen hätten. Breitmeier gluckste innerlich über das überholte Utensil. Links hatte sich ein schmaler junger Mann in den Stuhl gefläzt, der sich ein altmodisches Tragegeschirr mit zahlreichen angehängten Magazintaschen umgeschnallt hatte. Der martialische Eindruck dieser ebenfalls angejahrten Ausrüstung war immer noch etwas einschüchternd. Breitmeier war sofort klar, dass dieses Trio in diesem Aufzug den allgegenwärtigen Überwachungsdrohnen außerhalb des Gebäudes keine 10 Sekunden lang entgangen wäre. Natürlich war nichts davon echt. Und das war in Ordnung. Wie seine Gäste im wahren Leben aussahen, war Breitmeier völlig egal. »Hallo, ich bin Tim«, stellte er sich vor. Sie lächelten und zeigten ihm damit, dass sie ihn durchaus kannten, irgendeine Sendung von ihm schon mal gesehen hatten. Stellten sie sich vor, sehr schnell. »Halo«, begann der junge Mann zur Linken. »Janice, Radovan.« Breitmeier nickte. Er kannte die Pseudonyme ja schon aus Skips Notizen. »Wir könnten jetzt die erste Kulisse einspielen«, ließ sich Kolja aus den Kopfhörer vernehmen. Schon im nächsten Moment wich das Karo-Muster am Boden und Wänden einer weiten Ebene mit kargem Boden, vereinzelten Grashalmen und Büschen, Bäumen und Bergen in größerer Entfernung. »Okay«, sprach Breitmeier zu seinen Gästen, »wenn Sie wollen, fangen wir einfach an.« Synchrones dreifaches Nicken. »Aufnahme läuft«, verkündete Pedro. »Hallo zu unserer neuesten Sendung«, setzte Breitmeier an, ohne eine Sekunde Aufnahmezeit zu vergeusen. »Die Gäste, mit denen ich heute durch die Gegend streifen darf, präsentieren uns ein neues, fantastisches Genre. Bei mir sind Janice, Halo und Radovan.« Die drei gaben kurze Hallos von sich. »Erzählt doch mal, wie das Genre heißt und worum es geht.« »Gerne, Tim«, antwortete Janice. Breitmeier merkte sich sofort, dass die beiden Männer in Gefahr waren, nicht genug zu Wort zu kommen. Der Film, den wir gedreht haben, heißt Schwarzes Blut und ist ein Beispiel für Petropunk. Das Genre ist im späten 20. Jahrhundert angesiedelt, als noch viel Kohle und Öl zur Energieerzeugung verbrannt worden sind. Was wir verändert haben, ist, dass den Menschen zu dieser Zeit ein paar Technologien zur Verfügung stehen, die es damals nicht wirklich gegeben hat. Das ist also wie beim Steampunk oder Dieselpunk. Der Zeitraum liegt nur später. »Aha«, machte Breitmeier und gab sich Mühe, Verstehen zu heucheln. Es wurde Zeit, auf die Umgebung einzugehen, in der sie saßen. »Taucht diese Landschaft, in der wir sitzen, im Film auf?« »Ja«, gab der Halo genannte Gast zurück und zeigte mit der rechten grinsend auf einen Punkt hinter und über Breitmeier. »Wegen denen da.« Der Moderator strapazierte seine Nackenmuskeln, als er sich mit dem VR-Helm auf dem Kopf in die gewiesene Richtung umdrehte. Die Apparate waren groß. Ungefähr ein Dutzend von ihnen stand in der Ebene herum. Sie hatten große Köpfe, die denen von Pferden entfernt ähnelten. Sie bewegten sich auf und ab und schoben dabei eine Stange in den Boden und zogen sie anschließend wieder heraus. »Das sind Nickesel«, erklärte Halo in bedeutsamem Tonfall. »Ölpumpen, wie sie damals tatsächlich im Einsatz waren. Neu hinzugefügt haben wir die Technik, die sich am Rand der Pumpenköpfe befindet.« Breitmeier sah genau hin und nahm Schläuche, Kabel und offen sichtbare Platinen zur Kenntnis, die sich jeweils am Hinterkopf der nickenden Gerätschaften befanden. »Wozu ist das gut?«, fragte er gehorsam. »Das geförderte Öl wird dort gleich in Wasserstoff und Kohlenstoff aufgeteilt. Die Kohle wird dann gesammelt und kann später in die leere Ölkaverne verfüllt werden.« Zum ersten Mal schlich sich Skips Stimme in Breitmeiers Ohr. Ihre Nachfrage gab er fast wörtlich wieder. »Aber so ist das ja nie gemacht worden.« »Stimmt«, hakte Janice ein. »Das ist eine der fiktiven Technologien, die wir eingebaut haben. Hätten sie damals existiert, würden wir Kohle und Öl vielleicht noch heute nutzen. Faszinierend, nicht wahr?« So richtig wollte sich bei Breitmeier keine Faszination einstellen. Sein Bauchgefühl sagte ihm, dass sein persönliches Unbehagen doch gleich mal eine schöne, eigenständig formulierte Frage wert war. Was interessiert euch eigentlich speziell an den fossilen Brennstoffen? Ich meine, sie haben uns viele Probleme bereitet. In der heutigen Zeit sehen die Leute nicht, welche Kräfte um sie herum wirken. Der dritte Gast, Radovan, hatte diese Antwort aus den Tiefen seiner bequemen Sitzhaltung hervorgezaubert. Entspannt dozierend fuhr er fort. Wenn Sie heute vor einem Höhenwindkraftwerk stehen, sehen Sie nur, dass ein Kabel herunterhängt, durch das Strom fließt. Wie die fliegenden Plattformen in den Jetstreams diesen Strom erzeugen, sehen Sie nicht. Den Wind in 10 Kilometern Höhe werden Sie auch nie zu spüren bekommen. Bei Photovoltaikanlagen ist es ähnlich. Man sieht heutzutage nicht mal mehr auf den Oberflächen von Gebäuden, dass sie da sind, weil sie als transparente Schicht aufgetragen werden können. Und selbst wenn, die schwarzen Hochleistungskollektoren in den Wüsten stehen auch nur rum, ohne dass man sieht, wie sie aus Licht Strom machen. Bei Verbrennungsaggregaten ist das anders. Radovan verzog jetzt genießerisch den Mund und warf einen kurzen Blick zur Studiodecke. Man spürt, hört und sieht, welche Kraft von ihnen ausgeht. Das macht sie so faszinierend. Man kann das ganz gut in der nächsten Szene sehen, die wir für dich mitgebracht haben, Tim. Na, dann legen wir die doch direkt mal ein, schlug Breitmeier vor, ehe Radovan sich durch Ankündigung der nächsten Kulisse zum Moderator der Sendung aufschwingen konnte. Der Wechsel war radikal. Ihre 4 Stühle befanden sich jetzt auf einem lebensecht wirkenden flachen Deck. Rechts von sich nahm Breitmeier die typischen Decksaufbauten eines alten Kriegsschiffes wahr, einen horizontgrauen Turm mit einer rotierenden Radarantenne an der Spitze. Dann wurde er von infernalischem Lärm überwältigt. Ein antiquiert wirkender Kampfjet stürzte mit röhrenden Triebwerken über Breitmeiers Kopf hinweg, um dann hinter den Stühlen der Gäste auf die Oberfläche zu prallen. Er schoss bis an das entfernt liegende Ende des Schiffsdecks, festgehalten von einem eingehakten Gummiseil, das durch ihre Körper wirkungslos hindurchgegangen war, genau wie die Flammen aus den Düsentriebwerken. Der Jet wurde gehalten. Der Pilot gab dabei Vollgas und ließ die Abgasflammen noch stärker aus dem Heck hervorschießen, wahrscheinlich um durchstarten zu können, wenn das Seil reißen sollte. So etwas hatte Breitmeier einmal gesehen. Dann ruckte der Flieger zurück und blieb stehen. Der Lärm ebbte ab. Wir sind hier auf einem alten Flugzeugträger, erklärte Radovan das Offensichtliche. Wahnsinn, dass Menschen in diesen verrückten Maschinen gesessen haben, oder? Wir haben in diesem Fall alles mehr oder weniger so gelassen, wie es war. Man spürt einfach die Kraft, die von diesen Triebwerken ausgeht. Zweifellos, ächzte Breitmeier. Gerne hätte er sich seine realen Hände über die realen Ohren gehalten. Das ließ der VR-Helm natürlich nicht zu. Hier nebenan sehe ich einen großen Tanker. Er deutete nach rechts auf das offene Meer hinaus. Das schlicht gestaltete Schiff stampfte neben ihnen voran in seiner ganzen plumpen Schwere und Behäbigkeit. Ja, den haben wir auch eingeführt, bestätigte Halo überflüssigerweise. Ich nehme an, dass der den Wasserstoff transportiert, der vom Flieger verfeuert wird, vermutete Breitmeier. Naja, wandte sich Radovan, wir haben hier, wie gesagt, alles gelassen, wie es war. Es ging uns um verschiedene Technologien, die sich nebeneinander entwickeln. Ah, verstehe, sagte Breitmeier und meinte es diesmal auch so. Sie zeigen eigentlich ganz gerne, wie noch richtiges Öl verbrannt wird. Man kann sich der Faszination nicht entziehen, bestätigte Radovan und nickte mit einem schuldbewussten Grinsen. Allein der Geruch der Abgase muss berauschend gewesen sein. Das mit den verschiedenen Techniken kann man ganz gut in der nächsten Szene sehen, die wir vorbereitet haben, meldete sich Janice zu Wort. Breitmeier war jetzt ganz zufrieden mit dem Wortwechsel. Keiner der 3 ging völlig unter. Die Kulisse wechselte wieder. Jetzt befanden sie sich in einer Straße in einer sommerlichen Szenerie. Mehrere Autos standen herum und sahen dabei auf kuriose Weise individuell aus. Keines glich dem anderen. Ihre Stühle standen auf einer Anlage, die auf die Autos auffahren konnten. Breitmeier erkannte mit einem Mal, um was für eine Einrichtung es sich handelte. Eine Tankstelle. Wohin er auch blickte, in jedem der Dutzenden von Fahrzeugen, die um sie herumstanden, lag auf dem Armaturenbrett eine Zeitung. Er erinnerte sich an Dokumentationen mit Originalaufnahmen aus dem 20. Jahrhundert, in denen war ihm so etwas nicht aufgefallen. War die Platzierung des antiquierten Mediums nur ein modischer Kniff, der von der Programmierung geistlos und flächendeckend umgesetzt worden war? Er sah genau hin. Es schien jedes Mal dieselbe Zeitung zu sein, die immer auf dieselbe Weise scheinbar zufällig abgelegt worden war. Ein Jogger lief auf dem Bürgersteig an ihnen vorbei. Breitmeier nahm sofort fasziniert seinen Aufzug zur Kenntnis. Natürlich müssten wir uns Gedanken darüber machen, was die Leute damals anhatten, setzte Janice palzend ein. Der schnauzbärtige und lockenbehaarte Jogger trug das rosafarbene Oberteil eines Trainingsanzugs aus Ballonseide und ein gleichfarbiges Stirnband, Leggings mit Krokomuster und monströsen Ugly Sneakers. Das sieht man, moderierte Breitmeier fröhlich, während das weibliche Pendant des Joggers an ihnen vorbeizog, eine Blondine mit wallender Föhnfrisur, rosafarbener Spitzenbluse, einem 2 Hände breiten goldfarbenen Gürtel und Leotards. Ihre Sneaker konnten es an Hässlichkeit mit denen des Mannes aufnehmen. Auf der linken Schulter trug sie einen mit einer Hand abgestützten, riesigen Ghetto-Blaster, aus dessen gewaltigen Lautsprecher Cyndi Laupers "Girls just wanna have fun" plärrte. Breitmeier konnte nicht direkt benennen, was genau er daran unpassend fand. Ein Wagen fuhr vor ihnen auf das Tankstellengelände, eine klobige Ford-Limousine aus den 60er Jahren. Er hielt an einer Zapfsäule, sofort kam ein Tankwart in Latzhose und mit einer überdeutlich ölverschmierten Mechanikermütze aus dem Kassenhaus geschossen, welches mit einem geradezu barock anmutenden Turm versehen war. Der Fahrer des Wagens, ein unauffällig wirkender dunkelhaariger Mann, stieg aus, ging zum Heck des Wagens und öffnete den Kofferraumdeckel. Der Tankwart beugte sich sogleich hinein und holte eine etwa 1,5 Meter lange Druckflasche heraus. Er lächelte zufrieden, bevor er mit dem Gaszylinder auf den Arm ächzend in Richtung Kassenhaus zurückstapfte. In diesem Moment fiel Breitmeier auf, dass an der linken Außenwand des Gebäudes ein hohes Regal lehnte. In dieses schob der Tankwart die Gasflasche hinein. Für höher gelegene Fächer stand ihm offenbar ein Gabelstapler zur Verfügung, der weiter hinten stand. Der Tankwart zog jetzt einen anderen, offenbar leichteren Zylinder aus dem Regal und lief zum Wagen zurück, um ihn schließlich in den Kofferraum zu legen. Der Fahrer hatte inzwischen längst begonnen, das Auto auf die damals übliche Weise zu betanken. Er wirkte sehr entspannt. Das ist eine Technologie zur Vermeidung von CO2 in der Atmosphäre, die wir uns auch haben einfallen lassen, erklärte Halo stolz. Die Abgase der Autos werden in den Druckflaschen gesammelt und an der Tankstelle automatisch 2000 Meter tief im Boden verpresst. Die leere Flasche kriegt der nächste Fahrer, der tanken will, im Austausch für seine volle. Skip meldete sich in Breitmeiers Kopfhörer. Er musste jetzt versuchen, ihre skeptischen Einwände in etwas freundlicher formulierte Fragen umzusetzen, so wie eigentlich immer. Ist das durchgerechnet, fragte er also. Wären die Flaschen dafür groß genug gewesen? Hätte man es sich überhaupt leisten können, an jeder Tankstelle ein derartig tiefes Loch zu bohren? Wir zeigen hier, was für Technologie grundsätzlich schon da gewesen ist, erwiderte Halo, nun deutlich weniger begeistert. Man hätte das umsetzen können. Wenn der Kohlenstoff gleich bei der Förderung vom Öl getrennt wird und nur Wasserstoff übrig bleibt, wäre das allerdings gar nicht mehr nötig, oder? Wir stellen uns vor, dass die Menschen in dieser Zeit noch die beste kohlenstoffnegative Methode suchen, erklärte Radovan vermittelt. Sie probieren alles am Markt aus, das führt gleich zu mehreren interessanten Ansätzen. Machte Breitmeier und kam sich damit schon so dauerskeptisch vor wie Skip. Und der Film hat ja sicher noch mehr zu bieten. Gehen wir doch mal ins Feld, schlug Janice ausgelassen vor. Halo nickte beifällig und sah dabei etwas erleichtert aus. Das Bild wechselte, das Feld war ganz offenbar ein Schlachtfeld. Ihre Stühle standen jetzt vor einer hohen Hecke, durch die 2 olivfarbene Ungetüme hindurchbrachen. Es handelte sich um riesige, urtümliche, rasselnde Panzerfahrzeuge. Breitmeier unterdrückte den Impuls, wegzulaufen oder hinter seinem Stuhl in Deckung zu gehen. Stattdessen ließ er zu, dass die lärmenden Gefährte sich durch ihn und seine Gäste mühelos hindurchbewegten. Den ersten 2 Panzern folgten weitere, die die freigewalzte Bresche nutzten. Jetzt erst fiel Breitmeier auf, dass sie an ihren Türmen mit dünnen Kanonen ausgestattet waren. Rote Strahlen zuckten aus diesen zum Himmel und auch das altvertraute Jaulen war zu hören, welches in Filmen seit Jahrzehnten den Abschuss von Laserwaffen verdeutlichten. Kampfflugzeuge zogen dröhnend über sie hinweg. Einige von ihnen wurden von diesen Strahlen getroffen und zerbarsten in einem Feuerball. Diese Panzer haben jeweils einen eigenen Atomreaktor, der sie mit Strom zum Fahren versorgt und natürlich für den Betrieb der Laserwaffen, verkündete Halo. Breitmeier sah den Fahrzeugen hinterher, die sich von ihm entfernten und am Horizont die nächste Anhöhe erklommen. Was haben Sie da eigentlich für eine blaue Flagge am Heck, fragte er, ohne dass Skip ihm soufflieren musste. Das ist eine NATO-Flagge, oder? Aber da sind noch andere kleine Symbole an den Ecken zu sehen. Er wartete, bis ein weiterer Panzer vorbeifuhr. Ein Totenkopf, eine Sichel, ein Hammer und ein Eurozeichen. Sind Hammer und Sichel nicht Symbole der Gegenseite gewesen? Wir haben die NATO für den Film so verändert, meldete sich Radovan, dass die osteuropäischen Staaten frühzeitig beigetreten sind und die sozialstaatlichen Elemente ihrer Ideologie mit eingebracht haben. Das Bündnis ist damit größer, mächtiger und kümmert sich besser um die Schwächen der Gesellschaft. Welche Feinde gibt es dann überhaupt noch? Entfuhr es Breitmeier sofort. Einen Islam, einen islamischen, einen afrikanischen und einen lateinamerikanischen Machtblock, gab Radovan prompt zur Antwort. Breitmeier sagte, aha, damit er nicht wieder machen musste. Er war jetzt bereit, zur eigentlichen Story des Films zu kommen. Das allerdings ließ Skip nicht zu. Eine Frage zur Technik habe ich noch, setzte er deshalb an. Wenn die Methoden zur CO2-Vermeidung so wie von euch ausgearbeitet tatsächlich möglich gewesen wären, warum hat man sie dann nicht in Wirklichkeit angewandt? Halo verschränkte die Arme vor der Brust und wirkte damit erstmals ein bisschen nachdenklich. Wahrscheinlich, weil alles, was tatsächlich gemacht worden ist, einfach war. Breitmeier zuckte innerlich zusammen. Der Schalldruck in seinen Kopfhörern hatte plötzlich erheblich zugenommen. Er hatte Mühe, seine Gesichtszüge unter Kontrolle zu halten. Ganz gelang es ihm nicht. Naja, ächzte er. Es gibt auch Leute, die sagen, dass es nicht einfach gewesen ist, den Klimawandel zu stoppen, Er stockte kurz. Skip wütete weiter hemmungslos in seinen Ohren und war nicht mit jedem Wort gut zu verstehen. Dass es ein harter Kampf war, Politik und Wirtschaft von der Abkehr von den fossilen Brennstoffen zu überzeugen. Eine Sache, für die Abertausende von jungen Leuten auf die Straße gegangen sind, als alles schon verloren schien. Seht ihr das ähnlich oder ganz anders? Halo zuckte mit den Schultern. Höhenwindenergie und Solarenergie sind unkomplizierter als Kohlekraftwerke. Das CO2, das in der Luft ist, kann man absaugen. Wenn man dann auch auf Fleisch verzichtet, recycelt, Wasserstoff für Heizung, Industrie, Luftfahrt und Schwerverkehr nutzt, ist man doch schon fertig mit der Bekämpfung des Klimawandels. Das sieht dann eben nur nicht so spannend aus wie in unserem Film. Wie viel Zeit haben wir jetzt schon mit der Technik verbracht, schoss es Breitmeier durch den Kopf. Worum geht es denn in der Handlung von Schwarzes Blut, fragte er. Michael, unsere Hauptfigur, erklärte Janice, kommt durch Zufall in Besitz eines uralten magischen Artefakts, das über das Schicksal der Menschheit entscheiden kann. Alle Mächte der Erde sind dahinterher, sie fangen sogar an, darum Krieg zu führen. Michael muss sich in einer halsbrecherischen Verfolgungsjagd gegen sie wehren und dabei auch noch die Frau befreien, die er liebt. Ah ja, machte Breitmeier und gab sich gar nicht erst die Mühe, seine Skepsis zu verbergen. Diesen abgedroschenen Plot kannte er aus Dutzenden VR-Spielen und Filmen. Wir haben ein paar tolle Avatare unter Vertrag nehmen können, fuhr Janice fort. Matthew Hansen ist dabei, Ludwig Carrière und Leslie Tellerfor in der Rolle des hauptsächlichen Gegenspielers. Das hört sich doch vielversprechend an, rang Breitmeier sich ab. Petropunk ist ein neues Genre, fasste er zusammen, nachdem er das Timing kontrolliert hatte. Schwarzes Blut ist der Titel des Films, der demnächst in allen VR-Portalen heruntergeladen werden kann. Ab 30.03. ergänzte Radovan. Ich habe mich mit meinen interessanten Gästen darüber unterhalten und sage vielen Dank für euer Kommen. Ein dreifaches Danke mit passendem synchronen Nicken. Als Breitmeier den Helm abnahm, war Skip bereits damit beschäftigt, die drei Gäste aus dem Raum zu komplimentieren, indem sie gerade aus ihren Anzügen stiegen, und das auf die denkbar unhöflichste Weise. Sie stritt sich mit ihnen, immer wieder kam das von ihr spöttisch betonte Wort einfach fort. Sie verfiel auch streckenweise in ihre Muttersprache. Breitmeier hatte es nicht eilig, damit auf den Flur hinauszutreten. Als er es endlich tat, war das Tohuwabohu schon vorbei und die hoffnungsvolle Animationstruppe abgerauscht. Skip befand sich jetzt bei Kolja und Petra im Sendetechnikraum, der sich am Ende des Korridors befand. Pedro redete gerade auf sie ein. Du kannst nicht anfangen, laut zu schreien, wenn du Anweisungen gibst, ja, wie es auf dem Bildschirm, der vor ihm an der Wand angebracht war. Das sieht man doch. Es war eine Frontalansicht von Tim zu sehen, in der er das Gesicht verzog, weil Breitmeier den Lärm in den Ohren nicht ertragen konnte. Dauert ewig, bis wir das vernünftig rausgerechnet haben, beschwerte sich Pedro. Für Skip war das kein Anlass, jetzt etwa weniger laut zu sprechen. Hast du mal gehört, was Sie gesagt haben über den Kampf gegen den Klimawandel, beschwerte sie sich, während sie mit den linken Zeigefinger den längst entschwundenen Interviewpartnern kämpferisch hinterherdeutete. Sie gesagt haben, das war einfach. Immer wenn Skip sich aufregte, war ihr Deutsch besonders fehlerbehaftet. Als ich gewesen bin dabei, das war nicht einfach. Das war schwierig, weil keiner geglaubt hat an den Klimawandel. Das war anstrengend. Dieses Wort war Breitmeier auch gerade durch den Kopf gegangen. Wir sind nicht dazu da, unsere Gäste für ihre Ansichten zu bestrafen, egal was es für welche sind, ging er dazwischen. Wir müssen sie immer noch so behandeln, dass sie wiederkommen wollen und Leute, mit denen sie über unsere Sendung reden, auch. Ach, die nicht brauche wiederkommen, entgegnete Skip barsch. Die haben doch keine Ahnung. Du hast sie eingeladen, nicht ich, erinnerte sie Breitmeier. Ja, beschädigte Skip, damit jeder sieht, wie blöd das ist. Wenn wir nicht wäre gewesen, diese kleine Pisser können durch die Stadt schwimmen gehen, bis sie hier sind. Skip deutete mit ihren Armen tatsächlich eine Schwimmbewegung an. Und wenn sie nicht kapiere, dass sie können mir gestohlen bleibe. Was hast du eigentlich damals getan? Hakte Pedro jetzt engagiert nach. Was hast du persönlich damals getan, das so wichtig ist? Weshalb bist du jetzt so beleidigt? Breitmeier sah, wie Skip sich ihm zuwandte, immer noch verärgert, wie sie den Mund ruckartig aufmachte und dann innehielt. Als ob ein ganzer Wust von Antworten ihr Gehirn überflutete, Dutzende von Einzelheiten, die sie innerhalb von einer kurzen Entgegnung niemals würde unterbringen können. Eine Flut von Argumenten, die sie in eine frustrierende, wütende Ratlosigkeit zwangen, weil sie nicht entscheiden konnte, welches Detail sie ihrem Ignoranten gegenüber zuerst präsentieren sollte. Für den Bruchteil einer Sekunde fragte sich Breitmeier ein weiteres Mal, warum er so wenig über Skip wusste, über den Grund für ihre angebliche frühere Berühmtheit, auf der sie so oft bestanden hatte. Ihren Spitznamen Skip hatte sie bekommen, weil sie in ihrer Jugend mal der Skipper eines Segelboots gewesen war. Das war alles, was er sicher sagen konnte. Würde er jetzt mehr erfahren? Skip machte ihren ärgerlich verzogenen Mund zu, überlegte, machte ihn wieder auf. Das mit den gebuchten Werbeeinladungen kriegen wir schon in, meldete sich jetzt Kolja aus der hinteren Ecke des Raumes, wo er sich ausschließlich mit den praktischen Aspekten seiner Aufgabe befasste. Wir können Sie zum Beispiel zwischen die rollenden Panzer hindurchlaufen lassen. In den Filmszenen sind manchmal alte Plakate zu sehen, über die wir unsere Werbung drüber legen können. Das kommt bestimmt gut. Er riss sich vom Bildschirm los und wandte sich seinen Kollegen zu. Pedro und ich wollten bei dem neuen Litauer bestellen. Der hat Wasserlinsenbratlinge für die Burger. Könnte besser sein als das Laborfleisch vom Aseri-Grill. Seid ihr dabei? Er schaute unschuldig, war sich bestimmt nicht bewusst, dass er bei irgendetwas gestört hatte. Skip warf die Arme hoch, drehte sich um und rief, ich mache Feierabend. Das könnt ihr essen alleine. Damit ließ sie davon und niemand hielt sie auf. Skip hatte ihre elektronischen Kontaktlinsen und das Mikro in ihrer Halskette benutzt, um einen Wagen anzufordern. Die Wartezeit, die ihr angezeigt wurde, betrug nur wenige Minuten, also konnte sie ihren warmen Mantel aus dem Büro holen und direkt auf die Straße gehen. Es war Mittag. Die Wolken sorgten trotzdem für eine graue winterliche Dunkelheit. Von dem leicht angejahrten kubischen Glasfassadenbau, in dem ihr Studio lag, konnte sie auf das Becken des Düsseldorfer Medienhafens blicken. Über ihr schwirrten Hunderte von Kurrierdrohnen mit einem anhaltenden, leisen Sirren durch die Luft. Die automatischen Räumfahrzeuge taten auf Fahrbahnen, Geh- und Fahrradwegen unermüdlich ihren Dienst, und dennoch lag überall schon wieder wattiger Schnee, mehrere Zentimeter dick. Nur ein schmatzendes Geräusch verriet Skip, dass ihr Wagen kam. Mit ein paar Dingen hatten die Animationsidioten recht, ging ihr durch den Kopf. Die modernen Autos taugten nicht mehr zur individuellen Selbstdarstellung ihres jeweiligen Besitzers. Die stromlinienförmigen Gefährte der Mobilitätsanbieter hatten nicht einmal mehr Scheinwerfer, die man zu Augen eines Gesichts hätte umdeuten können. Dafür waren sie auch nicht mehr im Privatbesitz. Das Fahrzeug, das sich ihr von links näherte, verfügte stattdessen an der Front über den üblichen LED-Querbalken. Der war jetzt grün und zeigte damit an, dass der Wagen stehen bleiben würde und man vor ihm gefahrlos die Straße überqueren konnte. Und dann waren da natürlich die vielen animierten Werbebotschaften, die konstant über Karosserie und Fensterflächen hinwegflossen und auch die Innenseite der immer noch sogenannten Fenster bevölkerten. Wer an ihrer Stelle klaren Durchblick auf die Landschaft haben wollte, musste dafür zusätzlich bezahlen. Auf seinem austauschbaren winterlichen Halbkettenfahrwerk kam das Auto knirschend vor ihr zum Stehen. Im Seitenfenster war jetzt Skips ausgewählter Avatar zu sehen. Ein freundlich blickender, ältlicher Mann mit schmalem Gesicht und einer Taxifahrermütze aus den 30er Jahren auf dem Kopf. Seine Hände ruhten auf einem animierten Metallspeichenlenkrad. Manchmal war ihr Geschmack schon sehr rückwärtsgewandt, befand Skip selber in diesem Moment. Er begrüßte sie mit ihrem richtigen Namen, sprach in ihrer Sprache mit ihr. Hatten Sie bis jetzt einen schönen Tag? Fragte er und lächelte dabei erwartungsfroh. Skip besah sich die Umgebung. Von der Kante eines Vorsprungs in der Gebäudefassade am gegenüberliegenden Ufer hingen lange Eiszapfen herunter. An den Fenstern eines benachbarten Gebäudes hatten sich Blumen aus Eis gebildet. Alle Dächer waren dick mit Schnee bedeckt, der über die Kanten quoll. Wenn Skip sich den Hals leicht nach links verrenkte, konnte sie die Geri-Bauten sehen, von deren verspielt schrägen Dächern immer wieder so viel Schnee herabfiel, dass die angrenzenden Gehwege gesperrt werden mussten. Passanten stapften an ihr vorbei. Ihre solar-elektrodynamischen Jacken und Mäntel, die wie Ware aus normalem Stoff aussahen, erzeugten mit jedem kleinen Sonnenstrahl und jedem Schritt den Strom, der in ihre beheizbaren Stiefel floss. Mit denen hinterließen sie kleine Pfützen aus Schmelzwasser an jedem Fußabdruck. Aus dem Hafenbecken ertönte ein Juchzen und das charakteristisch schnelle Kratzen und Schaben, das so nur von Schlittschuhen erzeugt werden konnte. Die Stadtoberen hatten das Eislaufen freigegeben, da die Eisdecke auf dem Rhein eine Stärke von mehreren Dezimetern erreicht hatte. Sie atmete tief ein und wieder aus und sah den Hauch vor ihrem Gesicht. Hätte auch schlimmer kommen können, antwortete sie dem Avatar. Dessen Lächeln wurde breiter und bekam Zähne. Ist das Fahrziel Ihre Wohnung so wie immer? So wie immer, antwortete sie im Tonfall melancholischer Resignation. Geht in Ordnung, Frau Thunberg, erwiderte der Avatar erfreut und verschwand, als sich die Wagentür einladend zur Seite schob. Greta stieg ein und der Wagen fuhr davon.
Okay, danke schön, Herr Arno.
Gerne.
So I welcome you again, and thanks for your reading.
I'm very, very grateful for the invitation.
Yes.
This is something special to me, to get
Yes,
some
and
invitation from abroad.
Yes, and for us this is a special occasion to have you here and to read something on your own. And we will we have in our club in Helion, when someone reads something, the others will say their opinion upon the story.
Okay.
This is working from the very beginning in our club, and we will have something to say about your story.
Great.
So, any one of you have something to say? His opinion about the story that had Arno just reads?
Well, it could be just questions, right? I have a question. What is this, everything happening? Is it that in Sweden?
Yeah, it's in Germany. That's to the reader. This is more likely to understand in the end when the city of Düsseldorf is mentioned. That's where I live.
Because
yeah, that's also it is mentioned that Skip, that woman which appears to be Greta Thunberg in reality, that she's obviously is working in Germany. Because it's mentioned several times that she's a foreigner, that she's not in her home country. She has immigrated to Germany for some reason which is not revealed at all. And so this is all German. Also, of course, for German readers, it's very easily to see that all the other all the other names of people are mainly German, like the name Breitmeier, for instance.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any question about the story itself in order to understand the story better? Is anybody there? You might think he has missed the joke or anything.
Okay, I will say something. I didn't see here, but when Skip exit the building, there is summer or there is winter?
It's winter.
Outside?
It's definitely winter. I've been very lyrical about the landscape full of snow. There are skaters on the Rhine, which never happens in reality. Because there is no ice. This is all the signs of winter we have lost. We don't have such a winter in Düsseldorf today because of climate change. We don't have any snow. I was reading, we might have snow in Düsseldorf for 2 or 3 days in the winter. I was reading that it happened to be 60 days in the winter that you had snow. We don't have ice on the Rhine anymore. So this is also all the technical gadgets which are helping people to cope with winter are there. Well, there are boots which can be heated. There's a car which can go over snow because there's a special technology which has chains on the wheels so it can cope with snow. That's it. And when she says, well, the day could have been worse, I wanted to say that she's thinking about the achievement of that climate change has been fought against successfully. She has achieved that there still is a winter. Because Fridays for the Future was successful somehow. There was alternative energy like solar power and wind power, and that's the main reason why climate change in fact has stopped, and there's a winter again.
I have a question here.
Mm-hmm.
Because climate change, it doesn't mean just global warming. So sorry. So do you understand by climate change just global warming? Because it's possible the other way around to be very cold in some parts of the world, right?
Okay.
And the winter there should be stronger, like in my city.
Yeah. Okay. And now this is about global warming, definitely. So it's about global warming. We have it now in Africa where people are running away because they don't have water anymore. They can't live anywhere where they used to live. And we have global warming here in Germany, as I just said. Winter is not like it was in recent years. My mother was telling me about winters where there was much more snow. So global warming is something we can watch now. All the theories which are telling eventually the Gulf Stream may stop. Eventually there might be a situation where in Europe it's becoming cold instead. It's playing no role in the story because it's not certain. Also, this is not about, global warming would also be flooding, but it has been avoided in the story, so there's no flooding. And of course, you have to think also about storms, which are belonging to climate change, a lot of things. But yeah, this is about a situation where global warming has been avoided. So there are some things you don't even mention, because this is more about people who are thinking of the past in a way which is typical to people. What I was thinking about is, if it was being avoided, there would be people, though each and everybody would say, well, this is natural. This is the way we have been living. And it can have been difficult. This is what people normally, how people normally think about the past. And also, yeah, it's easy. It can't have been much of a problem, and it's what we can enjoy today easily. And also, you start to romanticize the past. So this Petropunk thing, which is nonsense, more or less, is romanticizing the 21st. First half of the 20th century, and romanticizing also the fight against climate change.
I found an interesting idea here about hydrogen being separated from the hydrocarbon,
yeah,
to be used as a fuel.
Mm-hmm. It's factual. It does exist. It's more or less the way how you produce hydrogen today. If you're trying to get hydrogen today for chemical purposes, it's coming out of oil. So the oil is split into hydrogen and carbon, and but mainly you're using the oil for petrol, of course. You're using all of the oil for some purposes. But if you want to have hydrogen, you get it like this.
Because what I thought, it's the water, it's a better raw material for the hydrogen.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the way we have to go, to process water by splitting water by electricity, which is coming out of solar and wind power and other renewable resources. That's where you want to go. That's where all the science is now taking place, to do it this way. And when it comes together again on a fuel cell and it comes out of the fuel cell, it's water again. You get water, you split the water, you get electricity, you have good water again. That's beautiful. It's easy and simple, but it needs some technology which has to be built, and that's a lot of money you have to invest in. That's the problem now, that industry is reluctant to invest so much money into this technology.
Thank you. I believe you're a little optimist. The story is optimist.
Yeah.
Optimistic. And I would place it like an alternate future as a figure of speech. It's an alternate future because I don't see that way as the story. It's in your story.
Yeah. I can understand this because it's the way it is, because this was the campaign which I was reacting to, where people belonging to a convention based in Leipzig, Eastern Germany, who wanted to have these stories for this topic in their convention book. Said, what would happen if Fridays for the Future was successful? How would the world look like? So this is a topic which has been given before, and I was reacting to this like, and I love to do this because I finally, yes, I am an optimist. If I'm not so prone to write stories which are pessimists, which have in which all of the future is looking gloomy and very difficult, very hard. This is not what I like to do. When I'm not doing this, I'm now doing space research things which are optimist in a way that it says it's possible to develop technologies which would enable us to do research in all of the galaxy in a possible way with unmanned vehicles. That's very optimistical too. And I'm not the guy who says the world will end in 20 years. This is not my view. It will be mixed finally. There will be positive and negative aspects. It won't be as positive as in my story, I guess. But yeah. We all often have said the world will end, and it didn't came like this.
Thank you. Before I give the microphone to someone else to ask questions, I just want to say your reading was exceptional. It was like a music, and too bad I can't understand German because you read it really well.
Thank you much.
I was impressed by the.
Yeah. Because you don't speak German, you don't get my errors, of course. Huh?
That's true.
And yeah, I was doing theater in my youth. I was enjoying this, and
I could tell
sometimes
that.
Sometimes it shows. Yeah, all right.
Thank you very much for. Yeah, it was a very nice reading, and.
Thank you much.
So. Am invitat pe alții să vorbească.
I understand that there will be more readings from German writers. Is that true? Because Andrei said something to me that this is there is interest in more German writers to have them to read something.
Dacă vom mai avea alți autori germani.
Nu știu cine a zis că vor mai fi. Da,
we would like that.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, we didn't contact yet anybody, but we will like to do in the future this kind of readings.
Okay.
From Germany and from other parts of Europe. Puteți, dacă nu știți engleză prea bine, cum nici eu nu mă descurc, puteți să întrebați în românește și Andrei să traducă direct în germană, că n-ai o să traducă în engleză, înțelegeți? Dacă cineva vorbește în românește, îi traduce direct în germană și atunci răspunsul poate el să dea direct în engleză, știi cum? Sau da, și tu traduci înapoi în românește pentru cine nu înțelege sau ceva. Că nu-i...
That's a better idea.
Eu vreau să spun ceva. Grüß Gott, Herr Arno Behrend. Ich freue mich, Sie zu sehen und ich erinnere an die Korrespondenz mit Ihnen aus dem Jahr 217.
Ja.
Auch das Interview, welches Sie an Laurian Knobloch gegeben haben.
Ja, ich erinnere mich auch.
Herzlichen Dank für Ihren Einfluss als Botschafter der deutschen Science-Fiction, dass Sie Empfindungen
ja, sehr gerne.
Und Kulturen aus unserer Zeit vermitteln. Über Ihren Text, Petropunk, kann ich sagen in Rumänisch. Es kann, ja? Despre textul dumneavoastră, Petropunk, voi vorbi în românește.
Über Ihren Text, Petropunk, werde ich in Rumänisch jetzt reden. Ich werde dann übersetzen.
Este un text foarte interesant în care sunt cuprinse multe probleme legate de climă.
Es ist ein sehr interessanter Text, wo viele Probleme bezüglich die Klimaänderungen
protecția mediului,
über die Klima, also the protection of the climate.
Klimaschutz.
Okay. Klimaschutz, genau. Ja, den Kampf gegen
câteva personaje sunt bine caracterizate. Câteva personaje, einige personaje.
Ja, einige Charaktere aus der Text sind gut beschrieben.
Sunt două planuri, un plan al prezentului și un plan al trecutului.
Es gibt zwei Zeiten, einer der Gegenwart und einer aus der Vergangenheit, jeder mit ihren Mitglieder, sozusagen.
Personajul feminin Skin,
der Charakter
care în
Skip,
final are numele unei activiste de mediu,
welche am Ende den Namen von Greta Thunberg hat.
Aș fi vrut aici să existe mai multe date de reliefare a personajului Skin ca un personaj retro, romantic, steampunk. Deci cum vreți să-l luați?
Mir würde es mehr gefallen haben, wenn diesen Charakter Skip besser beschrieben.
Mi-a plăcut foarte mult expresia pe care ea o folosea în semn de nemulțumire.
Mir gefällt ganz gut diese welche sie ganz offen
nutzt. Un element definitoriu, caracterizant.
Als ein Element, welches sie sehr gut charakterisiert.
Danke. Ja.
S-ar putea scrie un roman pe baza acestor date pe care această povestire le conține.
Aus dieser Kurzgeschichte konnte man sehr gut einen Roman erstellen.
Cum arată ea.
Aber ich freue mich von die aktuelle Form.
Și le rog să ne permită să o publicăm în amândouă publicațiile noastre, Helionul tipărit.
Und ich bitte Sie, uns Ihren Text zu lassen und in die Helion-Magazine zu veröffentlichen. Sowohl die gedruckte als auch die Online-Magazine.
Ja.
Ich gratuliere für diese Prosa und auch Erfolg für einige Projekte.
Dankeschön. Danke.
Danke. Auch.
I'm replying in English now again. I'm grateful, and I want to say right here now, I will write it also to you, to André, that the text is free for the magazine and for the online version, both. I'm happy. I'm proud that you want to have it. And thank you very much for the comments to the story. Of course, it was necessary to make a little bit of a mystery of Skip, not to show too much from her. So maybe this is why you say she has not been characterized very much. Also, there's also all the time there is a risk when you're writing about people who really do exist. Because it could happen that somebody will turn up. She would never have said this. She would never have behaved in this way. I've seen a documentary about her. She wouldn't behave. That's simply not her. So you have to restrict information about people who really do exist if you don't know them personally, I guess. And so this is a reason, I guess, why you think that she has not been very much characterized. I don't have a plan to make this into a novel. I'm not sure if there's enough substance to it. I have 2 novels in the making, and also I'm working also in a way that in fact I do. I'm taking stories, short stories, which are put into a novel, which is then written around the short stories. This method is something I really do. I'm really doing now. As far as the first story which I was giving to Helion will appear in the novel, in fact. So yeah, I don't think this one, but I will be writing more as a novel or more short stories. Thank you.
Okay, I was asking you that there is, if there is summer outside, because we are so used to read the dystopian science fiction, and I wasn't sure about your ending.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was asking, because okay, the technology is good. I saw that there is utopia in the first pages, but I saw that there is a twist at the end. That's why it was the asking. But about the story, it's not easy to write about such an utopian society, about what things you were describing, because it needs a lot of research, or if you don't research, it needs a lot of background in science, because you are bringing some technologies that are not common knowledge, and yes, this kind of stories of science fiction, utopian science fiction, isn't in fashion nowadays, and isn't in fashion from some tens of years, because society isn't what was in the 50s, in the 60s, even in the 70s. And I like that you in the story you mixed some technologies that weren't there. It's something that was a very interesting image of the society, of the future society, but it's mirroring our way of remembering the past. We always put something there that wasn't. In some way, I see that in your story, the society doesn't change as much, but the technology is more advanced. Even that, there are Behrend, reclame, cum spune în engleză?
Advertisements.
Cum?
Advertising.
Behrend and advertising, yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was advertising everywhere.
Pretty Western, yeah.
Yes, I went to high school and I was in Deutsche Sprache here in Timișoara 5 years, but I forgot a lot of so it was a nice image of the future, bright future. as you said, with the winter coming back as we know it, because everywhere on earth, even here in Romania, we don't have the winter as was 20 years ago, and that's the sad thing. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I enjoyed doing this. I'm thinking very much very interesting and moving tradition of utopia which you had in Eastern Europe. Even if it's true that this often was given out by a government, which was telling authors you have to write in a way that that the future will be bright. That's what we believe in, and you have to do it like this. It was very interesting to read such utopias. Especially, I was reading Ivan Yefremov, and I enjoyed Tumanost Andromedy in German translation, of course. I think it's not what we can expect in the future, but I enjoyed it even though, for some reasons. And yeah, I think utopia should be there in literature. It's always difficult to make it suspenseful. You have to add something which is giving suspense to the situation, or some threat of a kind. This is pretty much Star Trek. Basically, is an utopia, and so it can be popular. And what I also believe is that you are always looking for the opposite. So in the West, things were going very well for a few decades. And it was very nice and interesting to do dystopian novels because of this, because you can feel in a situation where you're feeling well, you can enjoy some horror, some shivering, which is walking down your back. And if we have a situation where Trump is re-elected as president, Western alliances are shattered, we will have China, Russia, everybody, Brazil, walking into every neighboring country, and it's all, and nobody is fighting climate change, and the continents will be flooded. That's a dystopian future to me, and if it comes, you will have a lot of utopian literature, because people are wanting to read it then. They want to see the difference, the thing which they don't have. So you never know what you want to have. To say there should be more utopian literature might say we can only have that if we are living in a dystopian real world. And who wants to do this? So yeah, maybe utopian literature will be rare, but I very much like it to do it, because I'm not so much into dystopian literature, and it was fun to do the story.
I have two small remarks. From your story, it's missing the nuclear fusion as opposed to fission, which is very clean, and we should consider in the future for if we are utopic. And second, I like this idea to replace the PowerPoint presentation with virtual reality presentation. Is it that already happening in Germany? Because I didn't hear about that.
No.
But it's a nice.
Yeah, this is not about presentations for making a point or present something in a discussion. It's these guys are doing something like a movie in cinema. It's for entertainment, and it's just to go further on in what we can expect from entertainment industry. That you can walk into a movie, see things happening from every perspective, see things from perspective of a character, in the story, from each and every character, you're able to choose this, or from a neutral viewpoint, and that's something which could happen in the future. There's a lot of research on virtual reality, and it has advanced. So maybe there will happen a lot. This is better to do it like this, to present movie making and enjoying movies and cinemas, presenting like this, because you have to keep an eye on technology, how it will change in these decades.
Right.
Yeah, no solar fusion, no fusion power. Even the theoretical basis is questioned now. Physicians who say it will never work. I think it can work, and I would be happy because it does add some opportunities which you can do. You can have a fusion reactor for a spaceship or whatever, but you can see now that the renewable energies we already have, solar power, wind power, are much cheaper. And they can be built, they can be scaled up easily. And
yeah, but Germany is the most advanced reactor in fusion right now, and other countries follows.
It's expensive. It's very expensive to do this.
In the beginning,
yeah.
But
you never
okay.
know. You never know.
Yeah.
Before I was doing the story, I was reading much about something which is in the story now. That's a high-level wind power. It's a high-altitude wind power. When you have something which is soaring in a heat of 500 meters above ground or even higher, and you're getting wind power. What about more than 1,000 meters? And you it's in the story, the heat. You get in wind power, which is 500 times stronger than on the ground. And
yeah, but hard to control that.
Yeah, today it's like White Brothers, no? So it doesn't look like it's very promising, but if it works out, it will be much less expensive. And you can do it everywhere. That's which was fascinating me from the energy viewpoint. Also that you have a lot of wind power, a lot of solar power today, of course. This is something which you might have seen. You're right. We are working on fusion reactors in Germany. The fusion reactor you might have in mind will be in France, in către, where it's an international effort. And we are within the European Union. But the real thing which is happening in Germany, that you have wind turbines everywhere. You have 30,000 wind turbines today, and you have days in Germany where more than half of the energy is already done by wind power and solar power. So if this is going on with further developments, it's looking very promising for me.
Thank you for the answers.
Thank you for the question.
I want to say something. It's a great story, and I think that the core of your story is that the past it's easy forgotten, and the sacrifice of the generation it's easy forgotten, and the future is not that clear to a point. It's a hard point. It's a lot of sacrifice that Skip, who is the golden character, was frustrating that nobody remembered the past and the sacrifice of his generation. That is the point of the story, no?
Absolutely. This is the main point. It is my answer to the question, which was the topic. What will happen if Fridays for the Future was successful? It will happen that people will live in the future, have no threats by global warming anymore, and they will forget about how hard it was to get there. This is my answer, which I wanted to present in the story. So you've gotten exactly the main point. Great.
people will skate happily.
Yeah, absolutely.
They will have winter again, and
I say this is something natural. It was always like this, wasn't it?
in
Yeah.
some parts of the world, not
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, South Pole. Okay. Anything else? Any more questions?
Yeah. Other interventions?
I just want to say it was an honor for me to be the one to get the text. I'm sorry if I didn't get the translation quite so right in Romanian. For some people, maybe.
I can tell.
Yes.
No, it was pretty good, Andrei. It was pretty good.
Wow.
With very minor things, it was a good translation. That's
It was the first time for me, so yes.
Fantastic.
But the text was very interesting, and I liked your idea very much, and how the characters were talking there, and the environment in this VR environment with the chairs, and how they could see all the sceneries. Yeah, so it was also very pleasant to hear you read in German.
Thank you. Yeah, you were leading me through all of this with your emails before, and as I said, I was quite flattered and happy that you have invited me, and now it was all working out very well in the end. Grateful. Yes. Thank you for having me, and I can say whatever you have in mind with regard to getting more writers. I will tell people on my Facebook page about this, and that it was a great experience. So whoever you might ask, maybe they will have heard about this and from me, and that this was a good thing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Dacă ar mai dori cineva să pună întrebări, pot să...
Commentary, yeah. Mainly positive. Okay. Yeah. Okay. There is also commentary in Romanian. Yeah. Any question which has not been answered yet, which might be translated?
Alte întrebări? Nu v-a auzit domnul Bancu?
Am pus o întrebare în limba română cu transformarea țițeiului în carbon și hidrogen și am înțeles că carbonul se înmagazinează în sol în locul țițeiului. Dar am citit textul și m-am lămurit. Așa.
There was a question regarding the separation of carbon and hydrogen, but it's actually clear.
It's clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't saw in your story, but how the humanity will overcome and will win the fight against the climate change? How do you see will work the technology and science to get back what we lost in the climate change. How your ideas about that?
Yeah, the tragical thing is that it's all there. All what we need to fight global warming is there already. It's renewable energies, first of all. When you have electricity from renewable energies, you can do a lot of things to avoid carbon emissions in every other sector, like driving with electric cars, driving with batteries and electric cars which have been manufactured. You need a lot of electricity to manufacture batteries. So it all starts with doing electricity with wind, solar, geothermal, biomass, even solar fusion, if it's there and affordable. And then this is the most important thing to do it. And also, people have now started to find a hydrogen strategy, which says hydrogen will take over a lot of what oil does today in chemical industry. There's also the agriculture you have to keep in mind. There's a lot of talking about vertical farming, where you have farming close to cities, where you don't have to transport vegetables over big distances. There's a lot of technology which can help to finally solve the problem. And also, I'm myself donating to an initiative which is about growing trees, because this is a very, very simple way to get a limit to global warming. When you start to plant 3 trillion trees, that's the name of the initiative, all around the planet, because they will keep the carbon inside as long as they are alive. And when they cut, you could put the wood to somewhere where it will be not rotting. You could making furniture out of it, or buildings or whatever. So there are these ways which can be done, and it's estimated that all the money you need to find climate change will be 1/10 of the money which is invested today to help companies because of Corona. That's to say, we are the billions which are justifiably invested in getting companies over the problems of Corona, because economy is going down, is 10 times as high than what we need to fight climate change. And that's to say, the money is there. The money is there, the technology is there. There's only one thing missing, and that's it's getting into it. And that's because we have a lot of industries, a lot of companies who don't want to change their methods how to earn money. They're telling the companies, we can't do this. This will hurt us. We will lose jobs because of this, what you want from us. And the only way is to overcome this, and to, as an elected democratic government, telling industries, you have to do this now. The planet has changed, the situation has changed, you have to do this now. We will help, we will invest some public money, but you have to do this now. That's the way to go. And it's a good thing when people who know their politicians, who are going on the streets like Fighters for the Future, are telling politicians, we want to have this, like that way. We want industry to change. Unless, if it doesn't happen, we will never elect you again. This is the way to go.
We are getting into the politics right now. So.
Yeah. Dangerous.
Dangerous.
Your story in how much, how many years in the future you see your story?
Yeah, 50 years. Greta is now, isn't she already 20 years old, I think. So that's about 50 years.
I want to say something about this point. The part was mistaken from beginning because from these two elements, carbon and hydrogen, we burn it, the first one, the carbon, and the idea is we must burn the second one, hydrogen, for producing energy. Not was the right path to use carbon for making energy.
Yeah, you shouldn't burn the oil or the coal. There's a way to separate hydrogen from carbon. When you're taking oil or coal, you can separate it, and it's really done for getting hydrogen for chemical purposes. It's not then done at a big scale, of course. And yeah, there was this idea that you can have the coal, the carbon, the pure carbon out of this, and put it somewhere where it doesn't hurt anybody. Yeah, this is the fictional method which is in this virtual reality movie. The thing is, of course, doing electricity with renewable energy in the first place is better than this. Does this answer your question? Right? Really?
Yes, the electricity is the main reason, is the easy part now. But the problem with the carbon is that when make a bond with hydrogen and producing dioxide of carbon, and hydrogen when make a bond with another element, oxygen, is not such a nocive substance like dioxide of carbon. That was the idea.
Yeah, yeah. As we said before, it's more sensible to get hydrogen, which you will need in the future for several purposes, from water, by splitting water by use of electricity. Yeah, that's for sure. It makes more sense. Absolutely.
Well, carbon dioxide is not poisonous too, because it's the food for all vegetables that we grow.
Yeah, right.
So we need to balance the concentration in the atmosphere, but it's not poison.
You're producing carbon dioxide now.
We are
by breathing. By breathing, it's leaving you because you're breathing. So this is a very natural thing. It's just about the amount in the atmosphere, as has been said. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I believe every question from now on is more about politics and some other stuff than the purpose of the lecture today, which was a fantasy science fiction story, right? So.
I will be happy to discuss everything further on via email, for instance, whenever you want to. Everybody of you. Yeah.
Do we have your email?
Yeah, Andre has my email address.
Yes, I will share.
You can give hand it around. It's okay for me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Anything more?
Adrian, chipul mai este?
Da, da, da.
Păi, dacă nu mai e nimic, eu zic să...
Exact pe aia vreau să zic, acum așteptam să nu fie. So, there aren't...
Îi mulțumim foarte mult și lui Andrei pentru faptul că a tradus proza și a făcut legătura cu Arno Behrend. Arno, ich will Sie bitten, warum ich spreche in Rumänisch. Entschuldigen Sie bitte, warum ich spreche in Rumänisch. Îl rog pe Andrei să traducă finalul acestei întâlniri.
Ok.
Și să-i mulțumim foarte mult pentru această
Herzlichen Dank für den Text und für die Lesung. Domnul Secu.
We thank Andrei Nedel for the translation, and we hope to hear about you, sir, a lot in the future. And from your connationals, you're from, I don't know, from Science Fiction Club Deutschland, and from other writers from Germany, because here in Romania, there were a lot of, I know a lot of writers from Deutschland, even from the 70s and from the 80s, were translated in Romanian language. One of them was Franke.
Yeah. Herbert Franke, yeah.
Yes, it was like Frank Herbert from America, but it was, and I read, there was, I think, 3 or 4 novels, very good, very interesting. And we would like to hear from nowadays from Deutschland, from the writers. And we thank you yet again for your kind to accept our invitation.
My pleasure.
We are all happy because it was a very interesting meeting, and we like to have a lot of these meetings.
Okay. Okay. I will try to help with this, wherever you want to have, and it was an absolute pleasure to me.
Okay.
And we want to hear about your novels, the future novels, and maybe read it in English or in Romanian or whatever.
I will keep that in mind.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you have some more of your stories, older stories or whatever, and we will like to put them in our magazines, online or other kind of magazine here in Helion, and you can send them to Andrei to be translated and have them in our magazine.
Yeah, I have some more in stock, so something like this can be done, I guess.
Thank you in advance.
Thank you.
Okay.
2 parts. The first part is when someone reads his novel, his story, and in second part we have some other thing. But today we have only you in our meeting. So I was asking if there is something else on the but if I don't know. We close the meeting, or we, if you have some other things to ask, had Behrend, anything else not about this story per se. I have. Are you, as a writer, are you an optimistic writer in science fiction, or this is a late way for you to see the writing in science fiction?
I am more of an optimist, and I guess it didn't show so much before, because I had a long period where I like to mix science fiction with crime stories. And crime stories, of course, are giving a picture of a crime, which is something which is not very optimist, that it will happen in the future again and again, that there will be some homicide or some other, maybe even the very futuristic kind of crime. This didn't appear to be optimist, but it was always in a setting where you had more advanced technology in the future, and this was the crime was the error in an optimist scenario, more or less. So this is, I guess, what you have to do when you have not so much an utopian, but some kind of optimist setting where that you have need to have suspense because somebody is trying to spoil it. Yeah? And this is how the story normally has worked. And yeah, also when I was dealing with alternate history, I was doing this also. I was thinking that people will have opportunities to change things to improve the situation they are in, because they're changing something in time. Or I was optimistic about space travel, and so said to myself, we will be in a situation where indeed we can go into do interstellar travel by some method which will really work, and look at the galaxy. So altogether, I'm fascinated by the sheer wealth of ideas people can have in technology, the ingenuity of people, and what they can make out of this in the future, even though there are, of course, there are risks. And you have to have a look at that risks. So mainly positive, mainly optimistic.
You didn't include the artificial intelligence in your story. Is because you don't trust in it, or you... Can
you ask again? I didn't get that.
You didn't include anything about AI.
Mm-hmm. It's just not the topic.
Okay.
The story which is in Helion is about, as I remember, I'm right about what story it was, is about robots which are changing the atmosphere on Venus for terraforming purposes. And these robots are communicating with each other about their feelings, because they have been programmed with some kind of artificial intelligence, which includes being social to each other. So these millions of robots which are doing this work will help each other. And this will stop them, because the atmosphere has been changed and they are obsolete.
But that's pretty scary.
They will be destroyed. And they are destroyed in the story, and they have feelings about this. And it's also about whether they can assume that these feelings are counting for us because we were programming these feelings. We see that this is artificial. This is not to be taken for serious. And they have a different view. And you, as a reader, can finally make your own mind up about whether these feelings are real to you or whether they aren't. And well, if you ask me, I'm very skeptical when it comes to stories which are telling that machines have real feelings, real conscience. I don't believe that. And also not on the same way like some prominent science fiction writers which are saying that machines like this are a threat because they will understand that they can govern the planet better than us and they will take over the planet because of this. This is the theory of technical singularity. I'm not with this because this needs intention. They have to have an intention for this. If you don't program intention, there will be none. I see a danger that we are humanizing so-called artificial intelligences or computers very much. They will do much more than we believe now, but we can see from the start when we have things like predictive policing in the United States or other things where computers are programmed. It always replicates the prejudices of the people who are programming the artificial intelligence. So when there's a prejudice of the programmer that black people are committing crimes, black people will be very actively viewed in predictive policing, and they will be put in jail much more than white people. And there are other things which have already turned out to be errors which are put into the programming by people, and these errors are what's really counting. It's not the artificial intelligence which makes its own decisions or would develop an intention. It's humans. Humans are responsible for errors in these machines, and this will go on in the future, I guess.
Talking about Greta Thunberg, so in the next at least 30 years or 50 years, you said, you are optimistic because you also see white people still in charge.
No.
That's
White
an
people?
Optimistic.
White people in charge? No. I didn't say this.
But what we can understand from the story that there will still be white people in the future.
Yeah, well, there will be. That's the majority of people living in Germany, also in the future. So these are the people who are active in my story. That's right, and it's Greta, of course. Yeah, but what I really believe is that we will see a future with China is much more important than it is today. You can see this today, and this will be difficult to communicate from different cultural views and to find common solutions about world problems when you have a culture which is hardly understood in the West. You have more input from Asia, Southeast Asia, the Islamic countries will be more important, and Latin American countries will be more important. So this will be a much bigger mixture. And the one thing is for sure, you can't assume a future where the United States will tell each and every other country what's going on in the future. These days are over. So I was writing the stories as optimistical because of the topic. What I really believe in is we will have a lot of troubles. And what I really believe is that we can fight climate change, and I guess it will be done after thousands and maybe millions have died. Because this is how it often is working out that people are reacting the way they should react when it's already too late for some of them. For some of them, progress is always too late.
Maybe we should, maybe I will, you give me an idea to write a story about climate change, but not global warming, but the global, getting everything cold, like very cold. And what will be the solution, technical solution and science for that?
Yeah, the scenarios is there that Gulf Stream might stop and Europe will be becoming cold, and you had that also, of course, in a movie which has been made by a German in America, the day after tomorrow. The day after tomorrow, yeah, the day after tomorrow, which is a very funny movie. It's getting cold very strong in a very short time, and the solution comes out of nowhere, and then that's over in a short time. It won't happen like this. But yeah, the scenario of a freeze is also possible, even though it's not as plausible as the warming scenario. And of course you can write also much more plausible story about this. It's more dangerous, of course.
There is a movie I've seen, I forgot the title, but it was a train that
No Piercer, right?
No Piercer.
Yeah. That was an interesting idea too, about
the violence. I didn't like the violence.
Yeah, the violence inside the movie. But
yeah, it was.
But the idea of building a train that will just drive and drive around the planet and never stop, because if it stops, that the last few specimen of humanity will die with it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can use a climate as a starting point to go into a very different direction and have a very interesting scenario, which might even be more fantasy, because reality and what a theory is about reality can be an inspiration also for this. Yeah. Of course, I'm very much of the opinion that the suspense of science fiction is that it's very strong, very interesting when it's very plausible. It's always the difference from fantasy for me is that when I'm watching fantasy, reading fantasy, I can always say to myself, this might happen just that way. This plausibility, which is maybe less than 10%, but it still might happen. Whereas when I'm reading A Lord of the Rings, I know nothing of this has ever happened or will ever happen, which is making it not so much suspenseful for me.
Talking about plausibility, even your alternate story, you mentioned that you like writing alternate stories. Even those are plausible in different universes, right?
Yeah.
Like parallel universes, they could have happened.
Yeah, that is the theory. Absolutely. Of course, alternate history is a subgenre where you have a quality which depends on how plausible the change is. There's much more discussion about alternate history going on in the United States. You can see that in English language Wikipedia, where you find out that there is a special vocabulary when people are talking about alternate history. The point of divergence when history changes from what we have experienced is often is called the John Bar point, whether that's taken from a Jack Williamson novel I like very much indeed, from 1938. That's The Legion of Time. And when it comes to the plausibility of the scenario, I came about something which was I found very funny. It's somebody said the idea that Germany, Nazi Germany, would have crossed the Channel and successfully invaded Britain is something which is so implausible that they would have needed the help of alien space bats to achieve this. Bats from space. And this is called the ASB factor. When there's a lot of ASB factor in an alternate history scenario, that means it's implausible. It's you have to imagine a lot, so it may happen. And of course, things which are easy or to achieve are much more suspenseful, because you can say it was so close. It was so close that well, you wouldn't make an alternate history story about 1962 and the Cuban crisis, the Cuban Missile Crisis, because afterwards each and everybody has been nuclear bombed, and that's not interesting. But the thing Philip K. Dick did in The Man in the High Castle was so easy, because there was this attempt to assassinate Franklin Roosevelt. And it was so close of being successful, and that's of course very suspenseful to read. What would have become out of the world if it had happened? I don't think that this is just like in the way of like in The Man in the High Castle, but it's an interesting speculation.
My last question: who's going to be the United States president? That's my last question.
I don't know. Yeah, well, what I see today is that I'm having a lot of hope, because there are so many people who were making statistics who were wrong in 2016, saying now we're doing this better. And there are women who were saying, I was voting for Trump because I never voted before for anybody, but I came to like him and I voted for him, and now they are disappointed because of Corona. So there are chances. There are chances, but there are two more open questions. How much of very science fictional digital manipulation of the election will happen? May it come from Russia? May it come from an American guy who's doing this in favor of Trump, who's named Robert Mercer, who's been found as somebody who's manipulating the campaigning very much. And also the second question is, when it comes the way I'd like to have it, Joseph Biden being elected as president, what will happen next? Will we have a second civil war in America? I don't know. It's a very suspenseful time we're living in.
Thank you, Arno. I just asked this question because it's important for how the future was
yeah, absolutely. You're right.
Being impacted in not just in America, but in Europe too.
Yeah.
In Germany, in Romania,
all of the world.
everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
keep our fingers crossed.
So, are there any other questions? Or we thank to head Behrend.
Mm-hmm.
And we close the meeting. Or are there any any other questions for him to ask. Okay. So once again, we thank you very much, Head Behrend, for your presence here and for your reading. Mm-hmm. And we hope to have you here in the future.
Oh, great.
Many times, you and any other writers. Mm-hmm. And there was a question here. We will have in 6th of November this year, we have a special meeting for the Halloween occasion. And we will be ready, we'll prepare some short stories, some illustration or music for that occasion. Mm-hmm. And the question was if you will enjoy us with some of your own writings or I don't know, any other kind of Halloween stuff.
Halloween stuff especially, yeah?
Yes. The meeting will be, but we will. The meeting will be in Romanian because we will write in Romanian. It will be in 6th November. Will be Friday at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. If you, I don't know. If you can, if you cannot, it's up to you. The invitation is open. Mm-hmm. We will accept anything in Halloween stuff because it will, and we want all the writings, all the stuff that we'll gather to that meeting. The stories and short stories and illustration to make a PDF, an ebook, and to put it freely on our site, on the other sites, to be like a Helion, Halloween, I don't know, something like that.
An issue, okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know so much about the topic, so I'm not sure, but I'd like to receive an email about this, so I can make up my mind and keep track of the date. And apart from this, I really, if you want to say you want to have me again in any way, in general, I'd be happy to be back again in some way.
Okay, we will keep through Andrei. We'll keep. Because he knows you better, and he will forward us your mail, and anything that will come, we will have a discussion. Will not be a problem for any future meetings.
Great.
So, are there any other questions? Okay. Thank you yet again for this time. And we will see you soon.
Really was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Great afternoon. Thank you. Bye.
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 Salut.
Apoi